Good morning. Everybody there?
I just came to say hi.
How are you?
Good, how are you?
Good.
Just saw you yesterday.
I know. Take it easy. It's a little too much.
I know, right? Are you at the office?
Yeah.
Cool. What do you have, lead generation?
I do.
Cool.
Wish I knew something about it. I wish I could help these folks, but I guess we'll give it a shot, right?
I just jumped on to say hi. I saw you on the calendar, so I was like, oh, it's Marky Mark.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Good morning, Devin.
Make it a great class. I'll see you later.
How long am I on for?
It's on the calendar, says until 10 o'clock.
Okay. Do I need to go all the way to 10? I don't think I need an hour.
It says 10, and then the next one is at 10:15.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, however long it takes.
All right.
All right. Bye, guys.
Bye. So we've got Devin, Anthony, and Megan. Good morning, guys. How are you?
Good morning. How are you?
Good.
Morning.
Morning. So, guys, I kind of do more of interactive. You know, like I don't want you to save all your questions for the end. I want you to speak like as we go along. Because any questions that pop into your head, somebody else is probably thinking of them, and it might stir more questions. So, because I want you guys to get as much out of this as you can. All right. So I want to start off with just so I have an idea like where you guys are at. How long have you guys been in real estate?
1 month.
1 month? Okay, Megan, how about you?
I've been in real estate 3 years. I was on a team, and then this summer I went out on my own.
Good for you. Good for you.
Under a year. I started off very part-time and then decided to go full-time during the shutdown.
Okay. That's awesome. That's awesome. So what is it that you guys want to get out of this? Like, what are some of your lead gen questions that, I mean, I've got some things I'm going to cover, but I'm just curious, like, what are the top 3 things or 4 things that you really want to make sure after today, you're like, oh, all right, that was worth my time going on it. Because I want to make sure that I at least cover those in addition to what I was going to cover.
So I worked on the buyer side strictly for 2.5 years. So I'm looking, just to gain knowledge of anything, pretty much. So listings is a little bit newer to me. I've done some CMAs and stuff, but just to gain more knowledge, I guess, is what I'm looking for.
Okay. Anthony, how about you?
So I'm not looking for productivity so much, but just to maintain the consistency of maybe 2 clients a month, and trying to, being brand new, just want to do the most efficient way possible. So far I've done 1 open house. I've essentially gained 1 client from that open house. Started sending listings, and then I threw the broker exclusive broker agreement at him, and I didn't hear back from him. So that's just an example, but basically I just want to maintain a consistent 2 clients a month.
So we'll cover that in like a little sidebar, like at the end, if you want, I can walk you through a good script for the buyer broker agreement, so it doesn't scare the pants off someone. You know what I'm saying? There's a way to present it. John, thanks for coming on, buddy. Dave Offarth. Dude.
Hi, Dave.
Dave, just so you know, AJ's awesome, man. Completely awesome.
Who? Oh, Andrea? Yeah.
Sure.
Oh yeah, that's right. Andrew. We call her. The kids call her
Oh,
AJ.
fabulous. I'm glad she worked out.
So, yeah. So, Devin, John, or Dave, like, what do you guys want to get out of today? Well, what are some of the topics you want to, like, something that's really you're stuck on with lead generation?
For me, it's command.
What do you mean by command? Can you be more specific?
Like the smart plans and lead generating through that way.
Lead gen through. Okay. Devin, how about you?
I don't know. Pretty much anything you can spit out at me. I've only had one listing so far.
Okay.
And I certainly.
Be careful what you wish for. I can spit out a lot. So.
I mean, I like
Dave
them,
knows.
but
Dave's known me for a long time.
Dave is a
Dave,
rock
how about you,
star.
buddy? I know. Dave, is there something you want to? Is there something that you're stuck on?
No, I was just kind of curious to see what, if there's anything, there's nothing really new and improved from just making the calls, but I was hoping to get some inspiration from someone on here today.
Oh, all right. I'll do my best, buddy. So basically, guys, getting listings is just about, it's a contact sport, right? The more people you talk to, and I know everybody, when they hear the word, you have to lead generate, it gives them like, oh. So if that word makes you cringe or gives you anxiety, then don't use it. I don't like the word lead generation. I don't call it lead gen time. I call it relationship building. When I make my calls or I do texts or I do Facebook messages, it's relationship building. Because that's what it is, guys. Everyone you're calling isn't a contact. They're an actual person with a life, with stuff going on, good and bad, job, family, happiness, fears, right? So if we treat them just as a contact, they can feel that. But if you're sincere, so I'm old school, and Dave knows from the past, I used to be a machine calling expireds and FSBOs. So there's multiple ways to get listings. One way is to eat what I call eating glass, which is calling expireds and FSBOs. And you can make a good living doing it. I just got to a point where I didn't have to do it anymore because I found a niche. So we're going to cover a couple different things. The first thing I want to cover, and where is it? John, you asked lead generating through command. That is basically, that's a way to nurture, to stay in touch, right? The smart plans, the market updates, those are all pieces of lead gen, but they're like the passive stuff, the set it, forget it type thing. That stuff doesn't work if you don't make the phone calls. If you don't call your people once a quarter at a minimum, the rest of it doesn't work. So I would start with your database. That's the first thing, because that's where most people get their business, is people that they know, like, and trust. If your database isn't that big, then you may have to call on people you don't know to grow that database. Like, Dave, correct me if I'm wrong, but you built a pretty good sized database just from your farming, and you've added people you don't know that became people that you do know, from haven't mets to mets, correct?
Yeah, I mean, the farming is where I've got all of my Mets from.
Right. So there's different ways to go about it, guys, but your database, the people that you know. Hi, Chloe, thanks for coming on. Your database is the meat and potatoes, basically. So, well, what do I say to them? If you guys heard of the Ford method, if you took bold, I know you heard it, but if you haven't taken bold, you guys know what Ford means.
Yeah, it's like family,
occupation,
nutrition.
recreation, and dreams. So when you call someone, and I mean, I'll do a quick role play to give you an idea of like how laid back and easy this sounds. So, Megan, you're You're at the top of the screen here, so I'm just gonna role play with you. Hope you don't mind.
It's okay.
So let's say you're someone in my database, right?
Mhm.
And I call you and I go, "Hey, Megan, it's Mark. How are you?"
Good. How are you doing?
Good, good. Hey, I saw on Facebook it was your birthday the other day. How you doing? Did you have a good birthday?
I did. Yeah. Had a nice time with my kids and family.
Yeah. How is how are the kids doing through this whole, like, are they doing e-learning or what's going on?
Yeah, the e-learning is challenging every day, but they get to go to school for a few hours in the morning, so that's at least nice.
Yeah. And then you finally get your downtime and they go to bed.
Yes, finally get to be a little more
I have
productive.
3 little ones, so I can relate. Um, so how about work? How's work going?
Works good, you know,
You
keeping
remote or are
busy.
you able to go into the office?
Remote, but I can go to the office if I want. But given with e-learning and my kids at home, I've been staying, you know, working out of the house.
Yeah. Have they told, like, is your company doing any layoffs or is job security pretty good?
No layoffs, nothing of that sort. So, which is good for people,
Good,
you know, and families.
good. Did you guys, I mean, everybody's kind of locked down over the summer. Did you guys were able to do anything fun, like anything like a weekend getaway or?
Yeah, you know, my parents have a second home in South Haven, Michigan on a lake, so we were able to get up there a few different
Nice.
times and get away. So it was fun,
That's
you know, for the
cool.
family. How about you?
Yeah, we did a lot of backyard, a lot of time in the backyard. A lot of time. Bought a bunch of gadgets for the kids, water tables and, you know, fun things, fun slides and play set, all that stuff.
Nice.
What about 2021? You got any inspirations for next year? Anything that's on kind of like your bucket list? You're like, look, I'm going to do this no matter what, or
You
any real
know,
estate related plans, like, you know, investing? Like, what kind of, what do you guys talk about as far as your goals?
well, you know, we just recently bought a house this past summer. So, I mean, I should diverse from that.
Hopefully
Personally
it was with me. So
yeah,
I would have
hopefully with
known
you.
that already.
No, but my boyfriend and I are looking into investment properties. We just had a conversation about that the other night and potentially starting to buy, you know, houses to be rehabbed. So that's a goal that we have actually for 2021. So
Did
it's
you
kind
know
of
that
funny
that's
that you
something I
called.
specialize in, Megan? That I have a lot of investors that I work with.
I did not know that.
So, you know, what I'll do is when we're, you know, maybe later today, I'll shoot you a text with some days next week.
Okay.
And why don't we set up a Zoom call with the 3 of us, and I'll kind of walk you through what it really looks like
Okay.
what to prepare for. I can answer any questions you guys have. I can kind of walk you through, because I think it's my wife and I are doing the same thing, and I think it's an awesome thing to do.
Yeah, his dad's been a part of a few with a guy he does a lot of business with. So yeah, I'd definitely be interested to gain some more knowledge on that.
Cool. Cool. Well, good. I'm glad everybody's healthy. It's good catching up. And I'll text you later, and we'll do a Zoom next week. Sound good?
Yeah, that would be great. I appreciate it.
All right, Megan. Have a good one. We'll talk to you
All
later.
right, you too. Take care.
Now, guys and gals, did that sound, Megan, did you feel like I was using a script on you?
No, it was just easy flow conversation.
Right? I was coming from contribution. I was asking you about you. Did you feel like it was about me or about you on that call?
It was about me. And then, you know, obviously, as any person would, you always ask how the other person's doing as well.
Right. They're going to ask you guys. They're going to ask
Yeah.
you how's real estate.
Yeah.
But though I'm glad you did what you did on the dreams part, because that's when you make enough of these calls, that's going to pop up.
Mm-hmm.
Or during this time, guys, somebody might go, you know what? This pandemic has made us realize we're living in too small of a place. We need an actual home office, or I need some kind of space to have distance from my family and not be on top of each other. You know, like, we don't have a basement now, we need a basement. We need an extra bedroom or whatever. So as you make these calls, this is how you generate business. And after that call, now I'm going to shoot you a text, Megan, and we'll reconnect. So see how I set up the next conversation in this conversation? Now, had you not said that, I would say, you know what? hope the house is good. Like if I knew you'd bought a house, I would have said, how's the house? Have you
Yeah,
guys
I mean,
done
I just-
anything, right?
Yeah.
And then I would throw on and say, you know what? I'm going to send you, we've got a really good, cool tool that it's like an equity tracker. So every 2 weeks, every month, I'm going to send you, you'll get an email from me with like a little market update. So you can be like behind the curtains nosy neighbor and see what the neighborhood's up to and kind of see how the values are going. So, and if you got any questions on it, let me know. Right. And now, John, that's how you put somebody on a market update. And it gives you another reason to call them and go, because, hey, how the market's been, the update's been going, hit any questions. Oh, did you notice that one sold for this? And you just engage because everyone's curious about what their home is worth during this time. A lot of people have no idea what's going on. No idea. So Ford is a great, like, basic fundamental way to reach out to everybody that's in your phone and just say, hey, just checking on you. Don't make it about, oh, do you anybody looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate? I've never been a fan of that script, and I might get in trouble for saying that on this call, but it's not how I talk. I'm more relational. And as you
What about
care
with like
about people-
cold, what about with like cold leads? Are you still using the Ford script or do you get a little more to the point, I guess?
depends on the cold lead.
Okay.
If it's an expired,
like-
I'm not going
Like
to
a face,
Ford,
like
I'm
Facebook
expired.
leads or, obviously FSBOs and expired, so wouldn't use Ford.
Online leads are different because you don't know them and you don't know exactly what like you can't do that until you get to know them a little bit.
Right.
So that's more of a call to action, engage and provide value. So after the 20th or 25th touch, they'll reach out. Right? Like somebody goes on your landing page from a Facebook ad. The chances of you talking to them on the first connection are like slim to no.
Yeah.
Right? It's about building trust, building rapport. Hey, thanks for taking a look at this property. We got some other properties. You throw them on a market update. Is anything you've been seeing, is there anything you want to get a private showing on? Anything I can help you with? Any questions you have about the buying process during the pandemic? Any questions about different kinds of financing in this market? Has anyone told you that you can buy a home today without paying closing costs? Right? Whether you get that negotiated in or you go with a Keller mortgage or that kind of a thing. So there's different ways to do it. If you're going to call expireds or for sale by owners, number one, really, really, really make sure they're not on the do not call. Back in the day, nobody ever called on you. If they did, the fine was minimal. Now it's like massive. I think it's like a $40,000 fine. So just make sure they're on the do not call. But what's one way to, now for sale by owner, here's the phone number out there. So you can call them. So if you're going to go that route, I'll give you the script I used. I called it the two-step. And I would call it for sale by owner. And does anybody want to role play it? I can role play. Dave, you want to role play?
Yes.
So you're a FSBO, okay?
Perfect.
Ring, ring.
Hello?
Hi, I was calling about your property over on Main Street. Is that still available?
It is still available.
Perfect.
How'd
My
you
name
hear
is
about
Mark Rantis. I'm with Keller Williams, and I was driving by the
another
neighborhood. I saw
realtor.
you. Yep, you got it.
Yeah,
I just have a quick question. My name is Mark, by the way. What's your name?
Dave.
Hi, Dave. Dave, quick question. I've got a pool of buyers. Some are investors, some are retail. And you may know that inventory is pretty low right now. Are you cooperating with agents if one of my qualified buyers has interest in putting an offer in?
Yeah, I would, yeah, absolutely.
Perfect. Can you tell me a little bit about the property, like as far as any updates you've done like in the last 5 years?
Yeah, we've put in a new kitchen. We've redone the two baths. We put a new flooring in the garage. So the house has been fairly well updated.
Okay. That's quite a bit of money to put into it. I'm just curious, after doing all that work, what's causing you to put it on the market?
Actually, we're just ready to downsize. We don't need this big of a house. The kids are gone.
Okay. Have you already found that property, or is that something you're gonna wait until you get your place under contract?
Actually, where we want to, condos, we want to buy, move into the city. There's plenty of them. So we
Okay.
just want to get this under contract and then, we can move.
Sure.
We can
Yeah, the
move
condo
on
market in the
property.
city is on the sell side is challenging, but for a buyer, it's kind of a dream. So let me ask you this. I'd love to come by and take a quick look at it. I want to see the flow, get a feel for it, see the updates you've done, the craftsmanship. Would I be able to come by later this week? Maybe Saturday at like 1 or 3?
Well, Mark, to be honest with you, we just put it on the market a couple weeks ago, so we're really looking to sell this ourselves. We'd love that opportunity, so I wouldn't want to waste your time and have you come by and take a look at it, to be honest with you.
Oh no, Dave, I appreciate that. In fact, my reason is to preview it for my buyer pool. We've got people that are very busy. It's hard to get out, especially with the pandemic right now. It's a little challenging to just get up and go look at property. A lot of people are doing virtual tours first. Where back in the day, they'd go look at 10 properties in one day. Now they're looking at 10 virtual tours and maybe physically only going to 2 or 3. So one of the things my team and I do is we go preview for them to see if it fits their needs. So that way we weed out the properties they're going to go look at. It saves them time. It saves me time. And it would save you time because then I'm not bringing in somebody who's not a good fit through the property. So it's more for me previewing it for my folks. And I'll represent the buyer and you represent yourself. And if we can come to an agreement, that'd be great. Does that sound fair?
I guess so. Sure.
Okay, cool. Saturday at 1 work?
I'm actually doing an open house from 11 to 1. So yeah, 1 o'clock would be good.
You know what? Why don't we make it like 1:30? Because I don't want to interrupt your open house. I respect that you're doing that. And I don't want to interfere with any potential buyers you have. So why don't I come by at 1:30 when everyone's gone?
Okay, that's fine.
Cool. Hey, Dave, I'm going to put this in my calendar. Can I get your email address so I can send you a calendar invite?
Yeah, it's Dave at blah, 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 blah.
Perfect. All right, Dave. Thanks, man. I'll see you on Saturday.
All right. Thanks, Mark.
So now, pause before I go to the next step. I just built rapport. I found out his motivation on the phone call. I found out he put a bunch of money into it. And I know that they want to buy something. And I just captured his email address. So I already knew, I got his name. I already had his phone number, and now I got his email address. And I know his address. If I have all that information, can I send him an email and put him on some type of a campaign down the road? Yes or yes? Right? So then I go preview the property. And as I'm previewing it with Dave, he showed me the kitchen, he showed me the bathrooms, he showed me blah, blah, blah. And then this is where I drop the line. I said, Dave, you got a great house. I'm going to run the numbers for my clients because I have to do it anyway, because I think there might be a fit or two. Because guys, you may not have a pool of investors. I would advise you to start building that database, because when you got guys that'll pay cash, you've always got buyers in your pocket. And for the right deal, they'll buy it to flip it. They'll buy it and hold it and keep it as a rental and add it to a portfolio. There's a lot of different things you can do. And I'll say to Dave, I got to run numbers for my own buyer pool. If you'd like, I'd be happy to share that market analysis with you. And if you're interested, I could also show you our market. I appreciate you're selling it on your own, but if you'd like, I can show you the numbers and I'll show you what we do as a marketing plan. So in the event you don't have any success on your own, I'm your backup quarterback. I'm on the shelf waiting in case you need me. Does that sound like a fair proposition?
Yeah, I guess that's okay. Sure.
So then I go back and I do the presentation. I do my listing presentation. I go over the market, the marketing, and usually when a for sale by owner sees what they're doing versus what we do, they're like, oh crap. And some of it might be an instant like, okay, we need to hire you, or it might be, you know what, we're going to give it another, 2 weeks, another month and a half. Whatever time frame they give, you cut that time frame in half. But now you've shown them. So if anybody else is trying to call on them, they've already interviewed you in a way. They've already seen what you do. And as long as you stay in touch and call them every week, hey, how's it going? How's it going? How's it going? put them on a market update, you have a better chance of landing listings that way than those, because most people will call, most people call for sale by owner and then they call once or twice and they're done. That's it. The one who follow ups the most wins the game. Expired is kind of the same thing, only, a lot of people don't like to call them because they don't want to get hung up on or they don't want to get yelled at. Guys, expireds aren't mad at you. They don't even know you. Think about it. They had a life plan to upsize, to downsize, to move out of state to be with kids, for a job transfer, a death in the family, a divorce, whatever. And they had their home on the market, and everyone they knew knew that their home was on the market and it didn't sell. If your home was on the market for 6, 9, 12 months and it didn't sell, and you needed it to sell to move on with a plan, would you be a little frustrated? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yeah. So they're frustrated at the process and the industry, because chances are they hired an agent that didn't have the skills to price it right or to show them the value. They put it in the sign, put a sign out front, and they never heard from the person for the next 6 months. And then when they did, they're like, "Oh, we got to do your price drop." And they're like, "What?" So you want to come from, and if you don't want to do the phone call thing, create a little packet and drop it off. Ring the bell. Hey, I noticed your home came off the market. We're constantly on the phones with our database, working with buyers and sellers all day long. If the event you still want to sell the property, I'd love to come take a look at it. And you treat them like people. And maybe you throw a little letter in there. I knew you probably had some major plans, and the fact your home didn't sell stopped those plans. If I could help you move on with those plans, would it be worth a conversation? Who's going to say no to that? Some people might, but if you do enough of them, they won't. So you've got people now. Those are more immediate listings. If you want long-term listings, Dave has been farming for forever, and he's built an amazing farm. And a farm could be, his is geographic, right? Dave, is yours just a building or a couple of buildings or a square quarter mile? Like, what does your farm consist of?
3 buildings,
3 buildings.
about 800 units combined.
Okay. 800 units, guys. That's 3 buildings that he knows intimately, inside and out, backwards and forwards. But that didn't happen on his first week or his first month or his first year. It took time. So if you live in a neighborhood, I'll be honest, guys, I've been doing this almost 14 years, and I'm just starting to farm where I live 2021. I moved to my neighborhood 6 years ago, but I have a different farm. I have a demographic farm. My niche in my farm is the senior market, folks that are moving, downsizing, moving into senior living. Where estate sales, probates, guardianship, that's my wheelhouse. So I've been nurturing that farm for 7 to 8 years, and that's my farm. Now I'm adding a geographic farm to that, and I'm starting small, like 500 houses. And my neighborhood has 1,000, so I'll go from 500 to 700 to 900, and I'll grow it, as I grow. But it's going to take a couple of years, right?
So how often do you send marketing out to them?
I'm going to be doing a 36 touch with them. They're going to get a postcard a month, and I'm going to do a strategic geofenced Facebook ad and Google pay-per-click ad. Plus any listings I get in the neighborhood are going to get a just listed, just sold, or, ads for open houses, those kinds of things. I don't do just listings and just sold on any listing I take, only in the area that I'm going to farm.
Can we go back to the for sale by owner? I actually have
Sure.
a buyer client that found the house for sale by owner. So how does that work for the commission part for me as the buyer's agent?
So one of 2 ways. At the end of the day, the seller's really paying for it, right? Or the buyer's actually financing the commissions. I mean, if you dissect it. So before you go, you call the for sale by owner and say, hey, I've got a client. They're pre-approved. They're using my whole crew. And they have some interest in your property, but I'm their representative. Are you willing to cooperate with an agent? Most of them are going to give you, they're going to say, we'll give 2.5% or 2% or 3%.
Oh, so you feel like they will still, I kind of feel like they'll like not want to work with me.
Your buyer?
Yeah, no, the for sale by owner, that he won't want to work with me, or she, like, you know.
You got to remove that limiting belief. Most of them are just trying to, for sale by owners, do it on their own for two reasons.
They don't
Either
want
they had an
agent.
either they had an agent before and the agent was terrible and they're like, I can do this on my own. Or two, they're like, we got to save the money
Right.
and we're going to give it a shot on our own. 8 to 9 out of 10 FSBOs will list with an agent. Either the other two, one will come off the market and choose not to move, or a neighbor buys it, or a close family friend or whatever. But most of them, 80% are going to list. You're not trying to get the listing. You're asking them if they'll pay a compensation.
Right.
And then you send them a document called the one-time party show agreement, where you have it in writing before you even take the buyer there, that for this showing and this buyer, they're willing to pay you X%.
Oh, okay. What is that form called?
I forgot what's in the, check
Car.
your, are you part of CAR or more?
Car.
Look on CAR's website under documents. They might have, or contracts. There's like a for sale by owner. There's a form.
Okay.
It might even be in the MLS. There's a form for, like, if you're going to sell to a for sale by owner, where like it's a non-agency agreement. Like you have a relationship with, and by the way, make sure you have a buyer's agreement signed with your buyer.
Right.
And the for sale by owner signs that like you're not representing them at all. They're like a customer, not a client. Like you don't have an agency relationship, but they're willing to pay you for that particular deal.
Okay. And then my other question was, and I'm sorry, I had a phone call, so I jumped on this a little later, but
No, you're good.
so there's just these two houses that I listed recently, and I want to farm the neighborhood. So how would I get all the addresses to that subdivision?
So I'm still learning. I have my assistant figuring this out for me. Remind might be able to do it.
I just did it for my neighborhood through Remind.
So how did you do it? Because I'm like, I can't figure out. I was like,
So you basically have to map it out, kind of, and then it pops up all of the houses, and then you have to export the addresses.
Hey, frankly, if it's single family homes, you go to the property, you
Mhm.
click on the address, and it's going to give you the map of the neighborhood, a Google map.
Yeah.
And you can see the addresses on there. Or I've actually walked the neighborhood before, just to make sure I'm getting the addresses correct. Or the Google map will show you the properties, the houses nearby, and the addresses.
Okay.
But Remind let me like export all of it onto an Excel spreadsheet to be able to upload it to do postcards and stuff.
Okay, so you went to Remind, you put the property address in that you wanted, or the neighborhood you wanted, and then where do you go after that?
Then you can kind of like, you got to play around with it, but you basically can, like, you know, go zoom
Like
in, zoom
rubber
out.
band it.
Yeah, you basically, you know, can draw a little map around it, and then it will give you an option of how many houses those are, and you can export it into like a CSV file.
Okay. So kind of like the MLS when you do the little graphic drawing.
Yes.
Right. Yeah, like the rubber, like the rubber band around a search. Yeah,
Okay, all right, thank you.
sure. Thanks, guys. You know, the other way to get listings is to have a niche. And the niche could be anything. I actually did a class on this like a month or two ago about, you know, creating a niche. My niche is the senior market. How did that become my niche? I personally had to go through it with my own father back in like 06 through 08. And I saw a need and a gap in real estate for helping folks that have to go from their home of 20, 30, 40, 50 years to a senior living community, like a skilled nursing They've got memory care, assisted living, independent living, whatever. And that's become my niche. So like my farm is B2B. I don't farm seniors that live in the neighborhood. I farm all the professionals that are dealing with the families, and I become the go-to guy. So you might be a wine enthusiast and you have your own little wine club, and that could be your niche. Or you might be a sports player and you play softball or volleyball, and that league kind of becomes a farm. Or you love working with buyers and you want to be like the buyer spread, like the go-to buyer person. The first time home buyers is just your niche. You pick a niche. You pick something, but you got to be passionate about it. It's got to be something you love to do, and you eat, sleep, and breathe it. And when you get dialed into that, and your passion comes out, people are always going to ask you about real estate. And when you help enough people get what they want, then things will start to flow your way. There's an old quote, I forgot who said it: "What you put out in slices will come back to you in loaves." So, but if you just call your database, and because right now, think about it, guys, I do mostly the burbs, like the northwest suburbs. I live in Mount Prospect. Do you know how many people are flocking out of the city to go to the suburbs right now? It's bananas. I have so many city agents showing my suburban listings, it's not even funny.
I just moved
Because
out myself
people are-
after 15 years.
People are skipping the next step. They're going from like apartment condo, where normally they go to a small house or townhouse, then to the burbs, if that's going to be their transition. They're skipping that middle one and going straight to the house. Because they're like, I got to work from home for the next like year and a half. I need a yard. I need a home office. We need some more space. We're noticing they don't care if it's HETV ready anymore. They just want the space, and they'll do the, I mean, a lot of people working from home. There's a lot of DIY projects right now.
Yeah,
People painting their own.
my last
What's
two
that?
my last two listings were in the suburbs as well, and both of them went under contract in 3 days.
It's like, if you're under 500,000, it's like, it's crazy. I mean, I just put 2 properties on that were under 200,000. I had 16 showings in one day. One of them was northwest side of the city. We were 225. I had 16 showings in one day, and I had like 5 offers come in. So it's pretty bananas. But the guys, the name of the game is, it's not the lead generation part of this business is to connect with people. Here's the flow. You got to connect. Call it connect time, relationship build, whatever you want to call it. You got to make your calls and connect with people. And then once you connect with them, where the juice comes from is 80% of the income comes from the follow-up. Now you connected, then you stay in touch. You stay in touch. You stay in touch. You ask them about them. Become their go-to person. Become the person that has, like, instead of them going to Google, they go to you. Right? Danielle, you got a good painter. We want to paint the kids' bedrooms. Or John, you got a good plumber. Our sink in the bathroom has been leaking and we got to get it fixed. You know, start reaching out and looking for good allied resources to have a go-to list. Because honestly, that's what I do. My database calls me for everything. My senior, especially, because that's what I do. When someone's making the move, I GC the entire project for them. I connect them with everybody that they need to either get them into a community, talk to an elder law attorney, estate sale company, then if we're going to do minor touch-ups. I have a condo where my painter went in and painted it, patched up all the holes. He did some handyman work. My carpet guy just replaced all the carpet. My cleaning lady cleaned it. And I literally listed it and had like 3 showings scheduled within an hour. Now, if you looked at it before it went on the market, before we did all that, and oh, by the way, the list price we agreed to 2 months ago, I upped it by 12 grand because of the way it looks now and what the market's doing now compared to 2 months ago. We went on 12 grand higher than we thought we would. So you have a lot of folks that might be in disarray going, I'm not, like the easy script is, Are you living in your ideal home right now?
So that was my mistake that I did with the first one. It was actually my first listing. So that's what happened to me. Luckily, we were in a multiple offer situation, and we did get $10,000 over asking, thank God, because I messed up. But so you have the listing agreement, and then we agreed on 160, and that's what happened too. She had to fix her basement, and by the time we did that, 2 months later, I should have went up on the listing price. So what do you do to change that? Do you just have them sign a new listing agreement, or do you
No,
adjust the listing agreement?
I'm part of more. We have a listing modification form.
Oh, okay.
My assistant, I still use .loop. Somebody told my assistant, I go send our client the listing modification form, changes from 175 to 187 in that particular deal. You change it. I changed it in the MLS because it was a draft. And we went on to higher number.
So anybody that
And you think he was delighted by that call?
So anybody that hasn't done a listing here, remember my mistake, because thank God they got 10,000 over, or I would have felt really, really, really horrible.
But I want to take a step back now. For those of you that are brand new or that have never taken a listing or only taken one or two, if you don't have the confidence about getting the price right and getting it marketed right, you're not going to make the calls. I'm going to peel back the mindset onion here for a second. If you don't feel confident that you could do the job, you're not going to make the calls. And if you do make the calls, your confidence isn't going to be there. If that's the case, partner with an agent. Partner with somebody on your first 2 or 3. Split it with them just to learn. I did that when I started off. When I first started, I was on a team, but it wasn't ran like a normal team. But I got guidance from them. But the first time, it's kind of like I look back now, I'm like, what was I doing? But my first luxury listing back in like 2011 or 20, I was like only a couple of years into this, and I had a chance to list a $1.2 million deal. I didn't know what I was doing. I was so intimidated. I brought another agent who was a luxury expert to come in with me. And after going through the process, I was like, I didn't really need that. But it gave me the confidence to make the call and to go on the appointment and to learn. So whether it's a listing or it's something that's outside your wheelhouse, like if I get referred somebody who wants to sell something where there's a bunch of boats and they have a dock, I know nothing about dock rights, right? Like that's not my thing. I'll reach out to somebody and ask for guidance and maybe give them a percentage and say, hey, can you work this with me? Or I'll refer it. But I've had agents that they're like, dude, I got this client. She's 88. She's moving into a senior living community, and I have no idea how to get this home sold. Can you help me? I'll refer it to you, and I'll pay them a referral fee. Right? Like Dave's not on the call anymore, but if somebody said, Mark, I need to buy in a high rise downtown, the Gold Coast. I don't know that market. I'm not going to drive into the city every time. I'll refer it to Dave. He's the better fit. But you want to team up and learn from somebody who's like in your area or whoever, or if it's me or whoever. There's so many people willing to help to get you going. Because then once you're like, oh, this is how it works. When you're confident about what you can do, then the calls are easy. So I want to cover that part though, because that mindset piece is a big. That prevented me early on, but then I learned scripts. I went to Bull. I've been to Bull like 15 times, guys. But back in the day, I'm not kidding you. I had a small little office, which my original office gave to me for free for 3 months. This is back in like 2010. And I'm not kidding you. My entire desk was covered in scripts. And I used the Red X back then. And I would call expireds and FSBOs. And whatever objection they gave me, I would look for the script and read it. You'd be like, well, we're going to wait till spring. And I'd be like, wait. And I'd read the script. Oh, we're going to try it on our own. Try it on our own for something. Okay. And I'd read that script. And I'm not kidding you. I would read, I sound like a robot. But I did it so many times. And I would practice my scripts all the time. All the time. When I say all the time, I'm being literal. When I was having breakfast in the morning, I'd be reviewing my scripts. If I didn't have a lunch meeting with someone, I'd be reviewing my scripts. A couple times throughout the day. And every day, every morning, I had a role play partner. I had 5 different role play partners for every day of the week. Different person on each day. All of them not from around here. And if you haven't been to like a family reunion or a mega camp and you don't have it, like I'm very connected across the country because I've been to these events for so many times. You call a team leader in Denver. You go, hey, I'm pretty new at calling expireds or FISBOs. Who'd be a good person to role play with? I had folks in Denver, California, because they have different markets. So they're going to throw objections at you you've never heard before. It's going to make you better. But when you do this all the time, that's the practice. Then when you actually make the calls, then it's like cupcakes. Because once you know, there's really only 5 reasons you're going to get that someone is not going to choose the list. We're not ready. We're going to wait. We're going to sell it on our own. We're sticking with the same agent that didn't sell it for the first 2 years. That one always makes me laugh. What are the other 2? Really, those are like the main ones. Once we're going to listen to the family member. Once you learn a couple different objections to handle those, or we don't want to pay a commission. Like those are like the main objections. Once you learn how to handle those, you look like Forrest Gump when he's like doing the paddle ball. He's like, you just they throw them at you, you just keep hitting it back. So that's how you build the confidence. I mean, that's how I did it. I mean, you can wake me up at 3 a.m. and throw an objection at me and I'll be able to handle it because I've done it for so long. Is this helping, guys?
Hey, Mark, where could you find all the scripts?
Keller, I mean, I want to say now it's probably in Connect, John. Like they've got different scripts. If you've taken Bold, Bold now is $100 online. That's a no-brainer. That I would do because they give you the scripts. And guys, in the beginning, when I told you I was like a robot, I read the script because I didn't know it. Once you say it enough times, it becomes your voice, your conversation. I don't read it word by word today. I did back then because I didn't know how to tweak it. But once you internalize it, it rolls off your tongue. Like if somebody says, I just had one the other day, and he goes, what do you charge for commission? He's interviewing some other agents. I said, well, typically, we charge X percent. And he's like, okay. And he's like, all the other agents are a little bit lower than you. And I said, well, I'm sure that is. But I said, the average agent sells 5 to 8 homes a year. We sell 50 plus. I said, when you see our marketing plan, you'll see why we charge what we charge, and you'll make way more than that extra percent. I did my presentation. He goes, now I see why you charge what you charge, and I get it. But it took me a long time to get to the point to provide that kind of value. But I didn't cave and go, well, if the other ones are this, I'll go to that.
Well, what can you say as a newer agent who can't stand there and say, we do X amount every year? We don't have that backing yet because we are new. How would you kind of
use the office?
Okay.
Our office sells, X number of listings. We have, right now, guys, we're combining into one massive office. We're going to be like the 4th largest real estate company in Chicago. We're the number one real estate company on planet Earth. I mean, we're in over 50 countries and we lead every category. And say, the difference between Keller and everybody else, you've never seen a Keller Williams commercial because all that money goes into training and technology that we get to use to help our clients.
Cool.
Right? And I would advise you to create a PowerPoint. I mean, I took mine from Michael Lewis Marketing Suite back when we were connected with them.
Mhm.
Bold gives you one. There's probably one in Connect.
There's one
It's pretty
directly in
fancy
Command.
looking.
Yeah.
Or in Command. And you just add, like, I took, okay, the photography one. I use a professional photographer. So we added some shots of some of the listings that I took to show how well the photos look. If you don't have any, could you go to another top agent and go, hey, can I borrow a couple of photos that you've used on your listings as part of my presentation? I mean, I'm using houses I sold like 8 years ago. I mean, I updated one now. I just updated because one of my clients did a really nice flip. So I'm using those as the crisp, clean, brand new updated photos. But for the longest time, I was using the same pictures I've been using for like 4 years. I had the same presentation for like 4 years, which I don't recommend. But now I'm tweaking and making it better. So you use this, or you partner and say, look, I'm partnering with one of the top agents in the company, in the office, and between with the marketing engine we have, and that's why maybe you partner with somebody for a couple of times until you get your feet wet. But I'll be honest, what you guys have today that I didn't have when I started, it's ridiculous. Like Command gives you, the Facebook ads alone. Like, do you guys understand how Facebook works with Command? Give me a heads up. No, yes.
Yes.
When Keller, so we're partners with Google and Facebook.
Mhm.
When they agreed to partner with Facebook, they channeled all of Keller Williams through one account. So Danielle, if you go, or Devin, you go to your ads manager, you'll get X amount of traffic. If you do the same ad through your Command account, you'll get 10 to 20 times the traffic. Because all that Google AI is in there. Now, the key is, if you do those ads, having a landing page for them to go to and then a way to follow up with them. So watch videos on how to put them on an automatic smart plan. But then you could then add, then let's say you do a Facebook ad, right? Even if it's just to promote an open house, like let's say you're going to sit open house for somebody that's not your listing, and you do a $30 Facebook ad from Wednesday to Sunday. Do a screenshot of your page in Command of the number of views it saw, how many clicks it got, and how many leads you captured. I did that. I said, look, because the average agent isn't doing Facebook ads. They don't even know what they're doing. And then you come on and go, look, we're going to do a social media campaign. And because we're partnered with Facebook, we get like crazy jet fuel on our ads. Here, take a look. This was an open house we did a 5-day campaign for to promote the open. And it reached 1,800 people, 130 people clicked on it. We captured 34 leads. Those are 34 people that punched in their first name, last name, and email address as people that we could contact to get to the open.
And you're doing that through Command?
I do the Facebook ad through Command. I shouldn't say this. I'm not using Command anymore for the drips. I have a different system. So, but then, another thing to do when you get a listing, do a Facebook Live. I do Facebook Lives on the ones that aren't like decrepit, like investor cash buyouts. If it's a regular retail sale, I'll do. If I haven't done them on condos, But you do Facebook Live. On the one flip that I did, I had, and I took a screenshot of it to show people like this is something that we do. I had 987 organic views in 4 days. And then I tell the seller, we reached almost 1,000 people in 4 days just from my video. Now, you might only get like 120 or 80. Those are 80 people that are interested in that saw that property that wouldn't have seen it before. So like every little thing you do, show them what you're doing and take a screenshot of it, add it to your presentation. And say, these are the little things that we do. And then as you grow and you get more experience and you put some money aside from every closing, then you can start getting different systems and then, adding juice to it. So we got like 3 minutes left. Did you guys get any value out of this today?
Yep. Yeah, I got lots of stuff.
John, Anthony, Devin?
I was looking in Connect for those
What's that?
scripts, and it looks like they're charged for them. Is that?
No. What office are you out of, Anthony?
Sorry, say it again.
What office are you out of?
Lakeview.
Ask Melissa Vasek.
I was gonna say that too, when Kara.
Melissa will know. Kara or Melissa will know where
Yeah,
to
they
go.
have the scripts.
Yeah, they can
You
email
don't
them
have
to
to
you.
pay for them. You don't have to pay for them. The other thing I would encourage you guys to do is maps, even if you're not a maps coaching client, has these like breakout sessions, like these small classes that will be like a month, 2 months, 3 months. Probably the best one that I took was called Language of Sales. They might call it something different now. That is where you learn NLP, neuro linguistic programming. And you create your own scripts. That's really what kind of made me really, really good, is learning language patterns. And I took it a couple of times. Like, and you hear it everywhere. So like, if you ever heard of an infomercial, are you feeling tired? Your pants don't fit? Does it hurt when you wake up in the morning? Then we have the product for you. It's called Pace, 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 Lead. That's a language pattern. It's done on purpose. And then they put an embedded command in there. Buy now. You learn how to use all those things, but in a real estate way. And they're designed to help your person you're talking to self-discover what's important to them, whether they should go this way or that way. Cool. I'm going to jump on another meeting, guys. But I had a lot of fun. I learned a lot from this today. Did you guys learn a lot?
I appreciate it.
Yeah, it was helpful. Thank you very much.
Definitely.
Here,
That's
I'm
great.
putting my info in the chat. Just you guys, if you guys have questions, call me anytime.
Thank you.
You want scripts? You have questions? I've had a lot of help along the way, guys, and I still get help. So whenever I can pay it back, I pay it forward. I love to do it. So you guys have questions on anything, you let me know, okay? Even if you're in a deal and you're like, oh my God, how do I negotiate this? My cell number's on there. Give me a call.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mark.
Thank
All
you.
right, guys. Have a great day. Go get them. Go get some listings.